Hey guys, this is Cal Zerdi. I'm talking to you here today from Fresno, California, and I was leading a seminar today on the leadership. And I want to share with you one pattern that will help you point out negative communication habits in others without coming across as harsh or, on the opposite side of that, as passive. So why would that be important to you? Think of people in your life that they have bad communication habits. We can talk about plenty. Let me give you an example. For example, rolling your eyes. Somebody roll your eyes on you as you're talking. Could be, you're at work and you're requesting a coworker or a subordinate to help you out with a project, and they immediately sigh. They go, okay. Or you ask a family member to, you tell them about something and then they make a comment and they start mumbling on their way while they're leaving. Or you're in a meeting, you're leading a meeting, for example, and one person, like, they're looking at the watch, or you're on a date and somebody look at a watch. That's probably not a good clue to look for. How would you point out these communication habits without coming across as harsh or passive? So when you're able to do that, first, you'll be able to point those out so they won't happen again. That could be one reason why. Another reason why you want to point those out, because you don't want to just don't say anything about it and then it keeps happening in the future. Or third reason why, it will help you not to assume if that person wants to be out of there, or that person doesn't like you, or that coworker doesn't want to help you in that project. So you'll be able to clarify for yourself and avoid making assumptions on where the other person is. And when you make assumptions, sometimes you will make the wrong assumptions. And when you do make the wrong assumption, then the other person may be triggered. It could be the wrong assumption, and now you're in a conflict with the other person. So why is it important to be able to point out these communication habits without coming across as abrupt or passive? Is because you want to be clear on what is the communication that you're getting back from the other person, and what is it specifically that means, without making an assumption with it. So I know some people who are very assertive in pointing out these negative communication habits or perceived negative communication habits, and as a result, they avoid conflict and they are so clear on what the other person is sending across or coming across. And I know some people, on the other hand, that they just assume that they don't like them, or they assume that the other person doesn't want to be there because they're looking at the watch, and as a result, they lash at them and they create conflict. Or on the other hand, they just don't say anything, and now this big elephant in the room, because you assumed something about that person that it may not be true, and that will come across in future communication with that person, and that could create a lack of rapport with that person. Okay? So that's why it's important to point out these communication habits. And I would really want you to write this formula down and memorize it. And the formula is this: BR equals BR. See, my engineering background, I just like formulas. I like math, and it just makes total sense. And that's one of the reasons why I like to learn communication and leadership from an engineering background, is through formulas and step-by-step process, which you would realize by watching my learning modules and what I contribute to people using these videos. So BR equals BR. What does that mean? Behavior rewarded equals behavior repeated. When you reward a certain behavior, we as human beings, or it could be animals, when you train a dog to sit and then you reward the dog by giving them treats or pet them, you're conditioning the brain, the reptilian brain, to repeat that behavior. On the other hand, when this also works when you are rewarding negative behavior. So when this behavior happens, when someone is rolling their eyes and you don't point it out, or you assume and just don't say anything about it, well, guess what? You are also rewarding that behavior to occur again. So that's why it's very important to you point out these behaviors in such a way that it's going to be powerful, it's going to be assertive, and it's going to be clear. So what is a pattern? How would you do that? What is a pattern? The pattern is that I'm going to share with you consists of three-step process. Okay, three-step process. And that is, 1, you want to point out the behavior. You want to point out the behavior. First, I want to share with you why is it important to point out behavior versus the attitude. So let's uncollapse those together, because most of the time we point out the attitude and we say, oh, you have a bad attitude, or you seem like you don't care, or you are rude. Now we are making perception. This is our own perception of what that specific behavior meant to us. So the first step is to uncollapse those two together, the behavior from the attitude, and always, always, always point out the behavior, never the attitude, in order for you to avoid conflict. Okay? So how would we do that? We're going to use a distinction that's called I statements. Yes, I statements. So you say something like, I noticed that you rolled your eyes as I was asking you to help me with this project. Okay? When I say that, how is that different from when you say, you were rolling your eyes as I was asking you to help me with that project? What's the difference? The difference is very simple, and that is, you're sharing your own observation when you use I statements versus when you say you were rolling your eyes. Automatically, it's like a finger pointed out there and you're attacking somebody. And as a result, Newton's second law says for every action there's equal and opposite reaction. So if you put your hands right here in front of each other and press the right palm on the left palm, the more you press the right on the left, what does the left do? The left will press back. And now you relax the right and the left will automatically relax. So when you say you were rolling your eyes, or you're late, or you haven't sent me that email yet, or it's your fault, it's automatically, by the law of physics, you are creating someone else to defend themselves and fight you back. So by using I statements, you're breaking that pattern and you're sharing your own observation. So it sounds something like this. I noticed you're rolling your eyes. I still haven't received that email yet. I'm still waiting on your response. I feel uncomfortable when you do this. Okay? So when you share your own feelings, or when you say your own observation, someone would be less likely to come after you or attack you, because that's your own observation, that's your own perception, that's your own feelings. And you are actually very clear in your communication by stating that. I noticed, I feel, I observe, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Cool. So that's step number 1, is you want to point out the behavior using I statements. Now let me clarify one more thing about that. The distinction between behavior and attitude. So With the behavior, you say, I notice you're rolling your eyes. That's an example of pointing out the behavior. Whereas if you say, you seem that you don't care, that's an example of an attitude. This is how you uncollapse those two together. I notice you're looking at the watch. Again, you're pointing out the behavior. You seem like you need to be somewhere else, or you seem like you don't care, or do you really want to be here? You seem like you don't want to be here. That's more like an attitude. You're pointing out the attitude. Okay? So when you're pointing out the attitude, we are attacking the identity of the other person. When you say you seem that you don't care, that's one thing that it does. The second thing that it does is you are inviting the other person to attack you back and defend themselves. Because how do you know that that person doesn't care? If you say, oh, I notice you're rolling your eyes, instead of you say that, you say, oh, you seem like you don't care. And the other person now could come back to you and say, how do you know that I don't care? Matter of fact, you don't care. And now you're getting in a conflict. So being able to distinguish the behavior from the attitude is very, very important for this to work. Because if you don't, now you are creating conflict. Because nobody likes to have their identity to be attacked. Nobody wants to be made wrong. You are distinguishing that specific behavior of that person from their whole identity. So that's what makes this work. Okay? So pointing out the behavior, so that's step number 1. I notice you're rolling your eyes. Good. So step number 2. You want to make an assumption. You want to make an assumption. And you actually, literally, you want to say the word assume. So here's how it sounds like. I notice you're rolling your eyes. I assume that you have better ideas. When you say the word assume, what does that do? It does a couple of things. One, you are not certain. You're telling that person, I assume, that means you're not certain. 2, you're giving that person a way out. You're giving that person a way out. Powerful leaders in battles, they usually give their opponent, the enemy, a way to retreat. They always want to give them a way to retreat. Why? It does a couple of things. First, it saves them face. Right? 2, less casualties. So this works same here. Because when you say, I assume that you have better ideas, that means you're not certain. Now what happens, now the other person would not feel like they're cornered. Because you're not attacking them, you are just making an assumption. You're not certain, you're not clear. You're giving them a way to explain. Okay? That's why it's important to use the word I assume in this case. Right? However, in order for this to work, the assumption has to be a positive assumption, not a negative assumption. What does that mean? If you say, I notice you're rolling your eyes, I'm assuming that you could care less, how good that's going to do us. Whereas when you say, I assume that you have better ideas, now that's a positive assumption. You want to make a positive assumption. So let me share with you a short story. I was in California, I think like Burbank area, and leading a one-day seminar on communication. And I had 2 gentlemen that they walked into my seminar room, and they've been sent by their organization because they ticked some customer off, and the customer complained about these 2 inspectors. They were real estate inspectors, and they were sent to that seminar so they learn how to be more tactful with customers, people in general. So they walked in the room, and the first 30 minutes they were sitting next to each other. Matter of fact, if I grab a chair right here real quick, I don't know if you can see me on that, but that's a chair. And now I'm going to sit down right here. And matter of fact, let me see if I could have you to see me right there. And one of them, he goes, the first 30 minutes, like I haven't even started my seminar yet. So there's definitely no reason for them to be tired or at least bored. I hope not, because my seminars are usually very energetic, moving around, teamwork exercises, getting in state, using your body, all that good stuff. So I was in a fork in the road. If I just ignored that, which by the way was too loud, they sighed out loud, and it was very disruptive because they were having side conversations within each other. So as a result, first option would be just ignore, or second option would be point it out. So I figured if I ignored it, I would be risking two things. First, which is the foremost, which is very important to me, and that is other people that they're there for their own growth and they invested in their own growth, they would be distracted by that behavior and they would lose credibility. Like I would lose credibility. They wouldn't listen to me after that because I didn't point that out, and it was a communication seminar. So I gotta walk the talk there. And second, if I didn't point that out, which means for them, now I'm rewarding that behavior and they would be repeating it over and over and over, and I can't afford to do that. So I had to walk the talk and use those three-step process. So I stand there and I go, I noticed that you just sighed out loud. I'm assuming that you're tired, and right before I finished the word tired, he jumped in and he says, yes, I was just tired. I had a long night last night, and now I saved him face. I didn't put him on the spot. Now, between you and I know he was BSing me. There's no doubts about it. But it doesn't matter, because I did a couple of things. I gave that gentleman a way out, saved him face, and as a result, later on in the seminar, he was engaged and he's doing exercises and he learned something, right? So I gave him an opportunity to grow and learn. So I sacrificed me being right for the sake of the relationship and him learning something, right? So it's very important to do that to people sometimes. And second thing that this did was it gave others the opportunity to see that, okay, you can still point out negative communication habits without hurting someone's feelings. Okay? So that's the whole point of it. And it doesn't matter that he was BSing me. The point is that it actually worked. So, step number 3, you want to ask. And the question could be something like, is that true? I notice you're rolling your eyes. I'm assuming you have better ideas. Is that true? Or, I noticed that you yawned out loud. I'm assuming that you're tired. Is that true? I noticed you looked at your watch. I'm assuming you have a better place to be. Is that true? I noticed you were mumbling as you're walking away, saying something to yourself. I'm assuming that you still have something else to say. Is that true? Okay. So you are coming from a place of curiosity. And again, folks, body language, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Your body language says it all, and your vocal tonality. So if you say, I notice you're looking at your watch. I'm assuming that you are crushed on time. Is that true? How likely that's going to work out, right? But you want to come from a place you're being curious. Like, I notice you were looking at the watch. I'm assuming that you're crushed on time. Is that true? It's a different ball game, isn't it? So you just want to watch your body language. You want to be leaning in. You want your tonality be of curiosity, okay, and of concern. You want to come from a place of being concerned, and so this way you wouldn't risk the fact that you're being condescending. Okay. So the pattern is point out the behavior using I statements. I noticed, I observed, I still haven't received. I statements. Step number 2, make an assumption. In order for this to work, it has to be a positive assumption. Okay. And step number 3, you want to ask, is that true? Just confirm. Now, with the last step, what options the other person has? Either options say, yes, it's true, I have better ideas, and here are the ideas. Great. Now let's talk about them. You want that elephant to be outside that room so you can actually have the communication flowing. This is great. That's what you want. Or they could say, no, I'm fine. Okay, got it. If there's anything that I can support you with, just let me know. Now, my question to you is, if this happens, if they said, I'm fine, do you think that they are more likely or less likely to repeat that behavior in the future? My guess would be less likely, wouldn't it? Why? Because you pointed it out. Because you called them out on it. And again, go back to the formula. Behavior rewarded equals behavior repeated. If you are rewarding their negative communication habits by not pointing it out, you are pretty much rewarding it for it to happen again. Difficult people, they've been getting away with these difficult or these behaviors since they were kids. And they know it's been serving them, so they do it. So what you're communicating with those 3-step process is that, okay, that behavior works with somebody else, but it just doesn't work with me. That's pretty much what it says. Pointing out the behavior, making an assumption, and then asking a question, which is that true? It's a confirmation. So, I hope that this simple yet very effective and powerful pattern made a difference to you, because it made a lot of difference to me. And guys, I'm an engineer, and obviously English is not my first language, as you can tell. And me being an introvert, if I'm able to learn these skills to a point where I'm actually doing trainings all over the country, and I'm speaking internationally on the topics of leadership and communication in front of thousands of people, if I can do this, I guarantee you, you can do it as well. All you gotta do is trust yourself. Trust the process. Give it a shot. Step outside your comfort zone. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, well, guess what? Try it again. Just make some few tweaks and try it again. If it doesn't work, try again. If it doesn't work, try something else. Just keep trying. If something that you're doing hasn't been working, if you keep doing it over and over, you know what happens. That's insane. So I invite you to step outside your comfort zone and try something that you haven't done in the past, and start seeing change. You're going to get results. At least you know that the shot that you're taking a shot at it. But if you're not taking any shots at it, and you're just blaming others, you're blaming your boss, you're blaming your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your friends, your family, your environment, the economy, the company you work for, your boss, how that's been working for you. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So, start within. That's where it starts. And this one pattern, go out today, I challenge you, and be intentional to practice it and try it on somebody. You go into the office and you see Cindy does what she does, side or flip their hair or doing one of those, whatever it is, point that out. Like, yeah, I noticed that you did this. I'm assuming that. Is that true? And just see what happens. What she's going to do. She's going to slap you in the face? She's not going to do that. She's going to end up in jail. What she's going to do? I never seen anything like that extreme would ever happen. Worst thing would happen is like, no, I'm fine, and then she walks away. And guess what? The next time she'll be more aware that she wouldn't do that in front of you because you actually pointed that out. So give that a shot, and I hope this makes a difference to you. And send me your comments. If there's something that you want me to talk about, send me an email. Let me know what your comments about these patterns I've been sharing, about the learning modules that I've been putting up. And I would love to help you. I would love to, have this conversation. If you want to have a one-on-one phone conversation or in person, send me an email. We can schedule, a strategy session and see if I can, contribute to you, whether it's to your organization, to your team, one-on-one coaching, personal relationships, business, finance, anything around communication, leadership, sales. I would love to contribute to you. So let me know. What do you think? And I will see you in our next module. Cheers.